Welcome back to another episode of OH-HighYo podcast, where we elevate stories and voices shaping the cannabis community in Ohio and beyond. Please welcome. Today we have a very special guest, someone whose voice, advocacy, and work has become a pillar in the Ohio cannabis community. We have Anthony Riley here, better known as Mastermind.
Mastermind. What's
He
up?
is a
So,
digital creator, entrepreneur, and the founder of Ohio Cannabis Live, a platform dedicated to educating and informing the public about legal cannabis in Ohio. A survivor of a traumatic brain injury, Anthony transformed his personal healing journey into a mission to help others by creating content, hosting weekly live streams, and launching the Ohio Cannabis Expo, which brings together patients, advocates, and industry leaders from across the state. He's also the founder of Mastermind Cannabis, a licensed white label brand in partnership with Beneleaves, and the CEO of another Mastermind Hit LLC. Through his platforms, Anthony has produced over 1,000 videos, advocated at the State House, and built a thriving community rooted in transparency, education, and resilience. Please welcome Anthony Riley to OH-HighYo.
What's up?
hey everybody. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you for coming out.
That was a great intro.
Thank you
Great.
so much. That was a mouthful.
It was a lot.
But
Yeah, I was
That was
like,
a lot.
that's
That
a
was a lot.
huge
but
paragraph.
it
You
was
done your
needed
homework.
though. You really do that. Like for real. Like that was definitely needed, and we're honored
You
to
nailed
have
that though,
you
girl.
today.
You everything. You said everything, all the info. You nailed it. You got it perfect.
Yeah, you done your homework for sure. I mean, like I said, I was further impressed. You told them a lot. So thank you again for letting everybody know.
Oh my goodness, my bad, you guys. Did I say too much?
No,
Oh
no,
no,
no.
you did great. You did
No.
great.
You said everything. Everything.
It was very well put together. It was great.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Well, before we jump in, we always have to start like this. Anthony, do you use cannabis? Why or why not?
Yes, I use cannabis for medicinal purposes.
Wonderful, as as we all do. Okay, wonderful. So, Will, you want to take it?
Yeah. All right, man. So check it out. So you got a real powerful story. And like I said before, I was interested to talk to you. You're surviving from a traumatic injury. Can't talk today. My bad. Injury
It's okay.
to becoming one of the most recognizable voices in Ohio's cannabis space. Can you take us back to that journey and like how that all began? Yeah.
That's a great question. So, basically, probably around 2016, 2017, I started to learn that we were going to eventually have medical cannabis in Ohio. And that's when I started to communicate with my doctors as far as my being able to use medical cannabis in exchange for reducing the amount of opiate pain medication that I was taking at the time. So what I was trying to demonstrate is that cannabis could be used to help, alleviate the need for extensive amounts of opiates. And the doctor that I was working with at the time, he believed in what I was trying to show him. So, I went ahead and basically did that and ended up, reducing the amount of opiate medications I needed to take. But what I also noticed back when we finally started our program, I had my medical card since 2018. They didn't have any dispensaries in 2018. But when they
Mhm.
did open the first
The
one,
OG card. He got the first.
yeah, I got my card before they launched any of the dispensaries open. But I was there when they
Mhm.
opened the first dispensaries, and I was able to give that information back to some doctors as far as the experience and my comparison to, you know, legacy cannabis versus what was being sold in the dispensary. And at the time, then it was a horrible thing. The prices were crazy, and they only
Yeah.
had four dispensaries that day, so it was not the best situation. And also, people were afraid to buy these products, thinking that there might be some kind of pharmaceutical chemicals in them or something like that. So, I decided to create some type of maybe not, I don't want to say public service number, but you might call it that, where people being able to see exactly what this stuff looks like and get some insight, somebody actually trying it out and seeing, is it actually working or is this just all sales and tricks? And I think I was able to demonstrate on more than one occasion that this stuff does have medicinal value for some people, maybe not everybody, but there are a lot of people I think have been able to find relief in using cannabis for medicinal purposes. And it's also been a great way to bring people together in a variety of different ways. So all I've been doing since maybe 2019 is doing these live streams every week, trying to get people the information, because right now it seems like the news media can only give about 30 seconds and they're done with it. And it
Hmm.
takes a lot more than 30 seconds a day to deprogram all the stigma and all the negativity that has been associated with cannabis.
So
So I
fun
feel
fact
like,
about the 30-second rule that you're talking about. My bad, I didn't cut you off. Most
no
companies,
worries.
when you have a copyright, you can only use 30 seconds before you have to pay for something.
Yep.
So that's why a lot of the media companies actually do that. That's why you don't actually see a lot of coverage, because if they're not paying for the coverage and it's just something that they're covering, they're not gonna, you know what I'm saying? Not gonna give it any attention. That is a thing in media. So I'm sorry, go ahead, continue.
No, I mean, and as far as that, that's another thing. I'm glad you brought that up because that was something else I had to do at the time, was get involved with the media and
Mhm.
do interviews. And that was kind of a new thing, actually talking to the news media about my situation with the brain injury and why I wanted to use cannabis for medicinal purposes. And actually, one network in particular seemed to keep interviewing me over and over the years, which is great. And I've even done interviews in Cincinnati and Dayton. I'm from Dayton, so that was pretty cool. Get to do news media interviews with the news media in Dayton, even though I don't live there anymore.
Mhm.
But the whole thing that the journey has just been trying to help other people figure out how to navigate, because right now they don't really have a good roadmap. There's no handbook per se of how our medical cannabis program should operate. It's just these rules that right now, with recreational being activated, don't make a whole lot of sense. And I think that's kind of something we need to try to work towards, is getting everything kind of balanced out now that we have recreational and medical.
Yeah.
I
So
agree.
how did it become a part of your personal journey? So how did it become like for your personal advocacy? Like how did you realize like this is the thing that you wanted to pursue and push?
Well, I hate to say it's something like, one of those divine moments, but it really was something like that where, I started to realize the disparity in people not understanding how to get a medical card, why they should
Hmm.
get it, and trying to just help people in general. And my family, that's kind of what we do. We always try to help people. So that's kind of something that's instilled in my personal values. I never could have imagined that I would be out on a mission to help people get access to medical cannabis and help guide them to, what they need to know to get a medical marijuana card through the doctor. And many different times we had these people that didn't even know that it was virtual. So it was a lot of helping other people and seeing that there was not a lot of people doing that. Everything was just, maybe it's in a big city, there's people doing things, but in these smaller communities, like let's say Canton or Dayton or Springfield or Lima, there seems to be these gaps where people aren't being able to get access or information. I think that's what made me really realize that I had to keep going for the longer duration than I had planned on initially. And I thought when I started this, I was just going to be doing product reviews, but it definitely evolved from product reviews. I'm
Definitely.
still doing those. I've got to do a product review here shortly for something somebody sent to me, so there'll be another video coming soon. So it's never seems to end. It's like more and more people are looking for this information. Even some of the hospital people are interested in getting more information about how this is working and helping people. So there is a very strong movement within Ohio, within the medical professional community, to get more information about how cannabis is helping
Yes, and I'm glad about that. I feel like the community in Ohio is very active, like you said, and it's very exciting to see because it's just the beginning. What was the spark behind creating Ohio Cannabis Live? Did you imagine it becoming what it is today?
Another great question. So and originally,
He's ready
it,
for
it
it.
originally it wasn't it before Ohio Cannabis Live, it was Ohio Medical Cannabis Group. I also founded that too, and our website is OhioMedicalCannabisGroup.com. When I created Ohio Medical Cannabis Group, my goal was to, again, trying to help people navigate the medical cannabis program, help people get their cards, help people interact with the board of pharmacy at the time, that kind of thing. Um, and I was hoping to eventually make that more something like a nonprofit, but start thinking, well, this is only going to be for medical, and then when rec comes, then this is going to be like defunct, obsolete, or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So then I started thinking about it, and I was like, well, how can it be different than what everybody else is already doing? And at some point, I got to thinking, how can I make something that's easy to say, easier? And then this is before AI. We didn't have Chat GPT or anything at that time. So this is really like
human,
thinking, like, and then
human
searching.
conversation.
Yeah, so it was, so and it's something in me is like, what I kept telling myself is that what I want to do is go live and give people more of a live perspective of what was going on than just a bunch of pre-recorded videos. And somehow I just ended up becoming Ohio Cannabis Live. That was June of 2019 when we started it, and
Mhm.
at that time it was, you know, after already establishing Ohio Medical Cannabis Group, and it had its own separate community, its own separate Facebook website. It's still there. I mean, so that was kind of like the first thing, and then that later, I had to have something that what I thought would be more universal, and then how do you make it stick out? And I thought live, and I went on the internet, and the website domain was available, and I was like, wow, Cannabis Live, and there we are, and from that point on, it was like, now you have to pay for this website for the rest of your life. And once you create something that important and it has that much of an impact, now you know that you got to build with the
Yeah.
website company for the rest of your life.
Wow.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
now I have 15 websites. So just imagine I did what I just told you, and I got to worry about that times 15.
That's
So
like it's like virtual real estate though.
yes, yes, yes. So,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I own OhioCannabisDispensaries.com, for example.
Wow.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, it was open, it's available.
Wow.
And then
Yeah.
nobody
I
buy it.
mean, if you got the
Yeah, I mean,
opportunity, why not take it? You know what I'm saying? And if it's
Right.
for a good cause, why not take it? You know what I'm saying?
well, yeah, I
Or
mean, people looking for this information, and trying to create some type of resource for people to find these things. And there's a lot of information on OhioCannabisLive.com, and it actually links to OhioCannabisDispensaries.com, so you can kind of like just go from one site to the other. But the whole thing right now is that people are still afraid of getting in trouble, and now there's this new legislation that they want to put out here that would have these new criminal penalties and basically make it illegal for things, and people
Yeah.
need to know these things are happening. And then that's why we did a town hall in Cincinnati this past weekend, and we're doing another town hall on May the 7th in Columbus at the Metropolitan Library Auditorium.
Okay.
And we're hoping to get some more people to come there. Especially, we invited the people who are part of the Judiciary Committee that's taking up this House Bill 160 that will basically make everything miserable for cannabis consumers and businesses as well. And we're hoping they just do like last time. They just make everybody get all nervous, and then at the end they just kind of don't do just dies.
don't do nothing. It's just like, all right, whatever.
That's
Yeah, yeah.
That's what
crazy.
happened last year. I mean, the Senate passed Senate Bill 56, and um, that happened. This is passed, and but that means nothing unless something passed in the House. So they'd have to pass it and reconcile it and all that kind of stuff. And those folks never get along like they say they
Right.
do.
Hmm.
So they'd have to come together on something and we still got to be able to stop them a little bit and say, hey, what about this? What about that? And I think that what I heard in the first hearing is that there is some people that want to throw some common ground in there. Like it seemed like the guy that's sponsoring House Bill 160 might be willing to listen to some things, but other things he seemed like he's got his mind made up. He's gonna do this.
Mhm.
Maybe some people need to talk to him and help change his mind. That's
Yeah.
what I can think of.
Just
Um,
talk to him as much as you can. As much as you
well,
can.
this goes back to the whole education thing that really drove me to create Ohio Cannabis Live.
Hmm.
I did it specifically at a point to just keep putting information because I knew people were afraid of the products, and so somebody had to try this stuff out, take one for the team, and that's kind of what ended up happening, and sometimes, I got to go inside the facility and film what's going on in the facility and show people be kind of like how these things really happen, and it's not just somebody growing it in the backyard or in the basement or something.
Yeah.
So I
Right.
think that's important. And one thing we have to keep telling people all the time is that, these companies that run these dispensaries and everything, it's costing millions and millions of dollars to run this stuff because the state is inflating so many different fees and charges to make it work. And it's just a big money racket at this point.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we need to get some of that money, and they're trying to take that away. 36% of that money is supposed to go to social equity to help people get licenses for growing
Right.
it and operating the dispensary. I mean, somebody could literally become vertically integrated, but if they take that away with the House Bill 160, then it's not
Right.
going to happen.
It's almost like they want to make sure like bigger companies, bigger corporations can come in and basically take from the little guy. Like if you go outside sources and then you just bring them all in, that way you have more control, which would suck because like I always talk about this with Bree. Like I really like Athens, and I always talk about this with Ann. And going there and seeing their culture around weed and like how it's centered there. But like you need places like that. It's like Kentucky, like bourbon here. You need
Yeah.
places like that where you can have a craft kind of culture thing. So yeah, 100%. I understand that. Speaking of growing in grow houses and filming the grow houses, you've done a live stream at 420 on Friday since 2019.
Right.
How do you develop the style? How do you develop the consistency? How do you do it all the time on Fridays?
Another great question. So one thing that I learned is that, well, first I actually went to the Ohio Media School and got trained on TV and radio
Okay.
Okay, all
broadcasting.
right.
So
My
Okay.
fellow media
this
guy. Hello. What's
well,
up?
this has helped me enhance my production, how I streamline the process. And when you're doing a lot of things by yourself, you have to figure out a template.
Yeah.
And that's really the basic answer to your question is how do you stay consistent is develop a template that has all of your graphics. This is the same thing that the news media does. All their graphics are templates. They can just go in there and change the language, change the text. Template stays the same. Every time you watch the news, their logo and how it's structured in the corner will always be the same because that's part of their template. And so once you develop a template, and you just put in whatever new pieces in those templates, then you don't have to do this every single time. It's a little bit easier to get these things to run smoothly, and then just figuring out, what's the best time. And then once you got your time set, people expect that you're going to be live. I mean, some people, pre-record a video and then they release it as a premiere or something like that. But what I have found is that people are excited to be on a live stream and excited to engage with the influencer or whoever they're talking to. So this is something I've learned is that people want to engage, and that's a little bit hard to do sometimes when it's just already pre-recorded. I mean, unless maybe the person's watching it during the premiere. So that's another thing I learned is going live is a really important part of the social media experience as opposed to just doing pre-recorded content.
Hear you. Here, I got you. So with your knowledge and your expertise, right? All the background you got. Uh let me know like what's the best tips that you can give the your audience that's listening now and your audience that you're aiming for. What's the best tips and tricks that you can give for them to always remember as they're growing their brand or growing what they're trying to do?
I'll give you one of the best tips, man. Make sure you have a lawyer and an accountant. If you don't have
That.
a lawyer or an accountant
Yeah.
and you need business insurance,
Mm.
these things are crucial to your operation, any type of operation. If you get involved in any type of endeavor that involves more than just you and a few people, you better have some kind of insurance in case somebody gets hurt, and you better have a lawyer on deck in case you need help. Um, you know, uh, when it comes to a logo and a website, these things are very important to figure out at the very beginning because if you pick a name and you say, "Oh, this is my show X," or whatever it is, you haven't researched to make sure that's not already registered with somebody else under copyright protection, then your name is never going to be something to stand out. Like I had to make sure that there wasn't already an Ohio Cannabis Live, for example. Once I knew that, then I knew that I could use it, and I continued to make sure that no one tried to register for that. But once you build a brand and you have multiple channels and everything, then start looking at these brands like they're assets now. They're not just an account. The more brand accounts you hold, those become assets. And it's important. If somebody's starting out, everything got to line up. Like I couldn't be Ohio Cannabis Live on Facebook and not be Ohio Cannabis Live on Instagram or X. It's still all Ohio Cannabis
Yeah,
Live everywhere.
Yeah.
But some
it's
people,
got to correlate
it's the
all
same.
three.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so each time you're building a brand like that, everything has to sync. So you have to make sure before you jump out there and build your brand that you have those key things in place, because once you know what the name of your company is going to be, and nobody else is calling their company the same thing, and then you know what your website's going to be, you've got your lawyer and you've got your accountant, because your accountant is going to help you stay on track. Because if you're not on track and somebody asks you, well, how much money you bring every month, you're like, let me go look at I need to my account. No, you go call your account. Hey, how much money did I make last month? Real simple. But these are things you have to work into a budget. Anything that you do, once you get ready to really get into this type of content, this type of work, you're going to have to pay for licenses for equipment, and there's lots of money involved. The licensing, the editing software, and those kind of
yeah,
programs, and even cameras. Yeah, I look at a lot of different programs, and like I said, I think that there's so many different ones depending on what you want to do with them. So a person needs to be able to be willing to learn on the fly.
yeah. I used to use Adobe, so I switched over to DaVinci, and it's like a whole new other language.
Yeah,
So,
I'm familiar with DaVinci. I like DaVinci because it's less expensive. You got a free version. Does a
mhm.
lot of the same editing that Premiere does do, but I still got to pay for the Premiere.
Yeah,
Learned it in
yeah.
school, so
InDesign and Illustrator. That's it. That's all I keep. You know what I'm saying? But like the rest of it, you know what I'm saying? I'll go to DaVinci because I think it's nice. So it's pretty cool.
gotcha. Understand.
Mhm. All right,
Uh,
so go ahead,
mhm.
Bree.
I was just going to ask one thing, but I'm sorry. Am I skipping you? My bad.
No, no, you're good. I was just trying to make sure. I was gonna pass it to you, but you're good.
Oh, you passing it to me.
I was gonna pass
Okay,
it.
bet. Caught it. All right,
There you
bet.
go.
So, Anthony, you've reviewed products, you've toured dispensaries, and educated people on legal updates. What have been some of your most impactful and memorable moments doing that work?
Okay, that's a good question. So I think one of the more impactful things that I believe that I did was the Ohio Cannabis Expo. I think the first one I did, we brought people from all over the country who were interested in learning about the legal cannabis space in Ohio. I do believe that we did these card drives in small places like Waverly, Ohio, try to help people sign up to get their medical cannabis card. I think that was really helpful because sometimes, like I was saying earlier, a lot of small town folks get left out about getting this information so they can get their card. So we definitely met
Right.
some small town folks and were able to help them not only get their card, but we was able to help them get their card for free. So that
Right.
was like
That's pretty.
awesome sauce. Like I was so, it had been something I had wanted to do for so long. But to be able to actually do it and help somebody actually get their medical card for free. I helped a lady who had cancer. That was a really big deal because, like I said, I know how hard it is. When I first started, it was like $400 to get a card or something like
Oof.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, plus the state fee. So it was, it
Yeah,
was, it was, it
that's
was.
Yeah.
yikes.
Now it's under $100. So,
That's
I
deep.
mean, yeah, I mean, it's changed a lot. Uh, and that's the thing people don't even realize that some people are still paying these crazy prices because maybe
Yeah.
they got in with the pain management doctor or something of that nature. And so that's another reason why I think again we have to still keep reminding people what's right and what's wrong, because a lot of times people are just getting taken advantage
Very true. Okay. So we're moving on to community advocacy and activism.
Yes. So you recently testified at the Ohio Senate on new
Mhm.
legislation. What was your message? What was you passionate about speaking when you were talking to him? And what was your biggest thing you wanted to communicate?
Okay, fair question. So this is in reference to the testimony for opposition of Ohio Senate Bill 56. It was just recently passed in the Ohio Senate, and this particular bill was designed to further restrict and amend the Issue 2 law. Some of the major things they want to do in this law was to reduce the amount of home grow plants from 12 per household down to 6. They wanted to lower the THC potency down from 90% to 70%. They want to ban sharing. Let's see how bad. They wanted to eliminate delivery. They also wanted to take away the social equity provision and also the community fund. And they want to take the money and put it in the general fund or else give it to the police. And these are just the ones I know, like off the top of my head right now. I mean, there's about 40 different changes in Senate Bill 56,
Yeah.
but it also it ignores some of the new methods of consumption that were in issue 2 that we have never had. For example, like inhalers. That's something that's in our law. People can get inhalers, but we haven't had anyone bring any to market yet. But it is something that is an issue law. Delivery is in the issue 2 law. We just don't have a framework for it. So in order for us to be able to get delivery working, all the law says is that it has to be delivered by the dispensary that it comes from. And that's kind of all that's there. So they didn't really work out a framework on how delivery should work. That would be something probably Division of Cannabis Control would have to figure out. However, I mean, at the end of the day, it was a testimony. It was basically just trying to make sure that the legislature know that people are definitely against these changes. I mean, people do not want to lower the home grow count, and then certainly when it comes to reducing potency, this makes it harder for people with cancer to be able to medicate properly. And those folks need higher dose THC than some people. So they need that 90+% potency for pain. And I know this. And so we don't want these diluted products. And then, just the restriction on the home grow. I mean, they've been trying to restrict the home grow. They keep thinking that joints grow on trees and that, that, people are going to, be just taking joints and sharing it with the black market. Just such a misinformed information about how cannabis grows and how it works. And at the end of the day, another thing that I was trying to hit home is I wanted the person to come there and try to invite the members of that committee to a town hall meeting to hear what some other patients and consumers had to say. Not for me to get yelled at, but just this testimony thing is very difficult to do. It's hard to get into the state house. It's very intimidating for some
Yeah,
people, and you still got to go past the state trooper to get in. So
Yeah.
it can make you feel very uncomfortable, like anxiety for sure for some folks.
for sure.
So I think that trying to bring these legislators into another setting that is 100% safe and secure, but also less intimidating is better than people feeling like they gotta like figure out how to get into the state house, which is kind of like a four-dimensional fortress.
Yeah,
Hmm. That
yeah,
it is.
for
Do you
sure.
ever it's Kentucky's like that too. The cabinet here, it's like walking through a military zone. Like you got checkpoint upon checkpoint upon checkpoint. So I can see where it could be like, hey bro, like I'm a little nervous about what's going on with everything around here. You can definitely see it. Do you feel heard in these spaces? Do you feel like your message is getting across? Some of your advocacy has actually made a difference, like in any type of aspect of something changed or anything that has been proposed?
Well, I think that not just with me by myself, but with many others, filling that room up with people who are against it. When they see the crowd opposition, when they see the entire galley, whatever they call it, fill up
Hmm.
with opposition, it's not just my voice, but the veterans. We had so many different people, stakeholder wise, and people who were just concerned citizens who were against these Senate Bill 60. I mean, it definitely wasn't in the line with the will of the people of Ohio and what we voted for as far as issue 2. So I do think that not just me, but many voices together collectively over a period of time starts to wane on them because they know that all of it's being recorded and everything these people are saying and how they're saying it is being presented in the most professional way. And nobody is, doing anything disrespectful. So when you have that kind of dynamic where people are saying things that are very sensible, reasonable things, and they're just trying to ignore. It just makes them not look so hot, like when they have
Yeah,
people being there and being very passionate about not just what they
right,
believe in, but what they know.
So that I feel that.
for sure. So, as a disabled American, how important has accessibility and representation been in your work in cannabis education?
Well, I mean, it's really important because, like I said, I mean, I know a lot of other people who are disabled for many different reasons, and I know some other people who have traumatic brain injuries, and they're always trying to figure out what's going to work for them and what can they afford. And right now, people are just really fed up with these high prices, and they're trying to figure out, should they take the risk to go all the way to Michigan? And there's just so many things happening right now. People can't really even fathom what's legal and what's not. And that's one of the things that I'm trying to help fix, is help people understand what exactly is legal and what is not.
Yeah, and that's really valuable, like, I'm sure to a lot of people, because I know I come across people all the time when I tell them that I work like in the industry and stuff. They just have no idea. They,
Mm.
like they have no clue about like what they need. They don't realize they can just walk in, like still, even now. But
I remember my first time.
especially before rec, but like even still now after rec, like people don't realize all they need is their ID to come in,
Yes.
like just
Yeah.
simple things like that. So,
I remember my first time I went into a dispensary, I was lost because there was just so much. And like having somebody explain strains to me, I was like, I didn't even know there was this much. Like I had no clue. Like I had no clue there was
Yeah,
this
it's
much
crazy.
difference.
It's a
like
lot of stuff
like
out there. It
like
is.
can
It's
I just
crazy.
come in the back and hang out with y'all for a little bit? Like I just want to see it all. But like at the same time, it was just like I didn't even know there was that much science that went into it. I didn't know that there was different types that would help with certain types of pains. You know what I'm saying? Like the
Mhm.
fact that I got all that information and that going to a dispensary is well worth it. So I think these like establishments are great. They're good. They're good places. You know what I'm saying?
for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so we have over 126 open right now. It's supposed to be 145, and then all those got extra licenses. So it's gonna be like 300 dispensaries, or 300, almost 350 dispensaries. It's gonna be so
Yeah.
many dispensaries. I mean, in Detroit, I mean, Michigan, they got like 800. So
Oh
we
my
got
god.
a long way to go to catch up to Detroit.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
So let me ask you this.
800.
We're going to shift and center on the Cannabis Expo and talk about your vision for that. So how did it start and has it had a huge impact?
The Ohio Cannabis Expo definitely has had a huge impact because,
Mm.
the goal with my expo was to bring the cannabis community together and to bring a variety of people to the same space. And we were blessed to work with the Hilton last year. And that helped us out a lot, just having a venue, a high quality venue to bring folks together. And we're able to get license holders, actually CEOs, some of these companies to come and speak to people directly. And I think it provided a great business to consumer and business to business opportunity, which kind of made it a little bit versatile because a lot of times some events are either business to business or business to consumer, but ours was basically both. So you had the best of both worlds. It was a great network opportunity for people in the cannabis space, people who were trying to get in. And it also gave people exposure. We had people that, like I said, were coming from all over the country, as far as New York, Michigan. We had people come there. We had a variety of guests come to our first expo. The one in the winter was a little bit tougher just because of logistics and whatnot. And I think that hotel and the location just wasn't prime for what we thought it was going to be. And it just got to be in, maybe too fancy. But at the end of the day, I think that the vision remains the same, is to still have another expo here in Columbus, which we've already pretty much found a place to do it at. We're just still trying to think, we want to see what the legislator is going to do, because something else within that legislation is related to having to get a permit to host cannabis events. So we're trying to wait and see. what exactly legislators going. I want them just to do whatever, get it over with. I mean, because if you're gonna
Literally.
do it. Yeah, I mean, I don't like to
Just let us
wait all
know.
year long.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
I
well,
hear
we
you.
got a preview. We seen what they wrote out, and the main concern is this thing about smoking in your car, and going to jail, and having to pay a fine, and losing your license. This thing with the unemployment, where I mean, you can get fired from your job over cannabis, and then you can't get unemployment.
Yeah,
That's not good.
that's silly.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of little things to unpack, and so I always tell people if they really want to know it and read it word for word, I do have it on my website linked in there. You can just go to my site and like the last 3 blog posts, I'm drilling it down because like it's just so much, to process when you start reading. It's like then they don't even may never even pass. Next year they do the same thing. They did it last year. And we're gonna go through this whole thing. We'll be doing another interview. Well, they did it last year, but they might make it. And so we have to keep acting as if we think they're going to pass it.
Yeah.
And so, right now, like I said, I've been just trying to focus in on the town halls more than the expos right now. But the next expo will be in Columbus 100%. And we're hoping to still do the same thing as far as connecting the business side of it to the consumer, because that's really what's happening right now is this disconnect where these companies are not really familiar to the marketplace because those names, those brands they got right now, they were so restricted when they first started these companies. When we first went medical, a
Mhm.
lot of these companies are now rebranding and changing their names, changing
Right.
their logos. So
Hmm.
it's making it even more confusing to figure out what company is which. Like, is this a new
Right.
one, or is this the same people, or it's the same
Yeah.
company? So that's why I think there's a lot more work to be done, as far as those expos and as far as the town halls, as far as getting people opportunity to speak to some of these other people involved in the industry and some of these legislators as well.
Okay, wonderful. You're kind of going into my next question. Um, so the question was, what's your ultimate vision for it moving forward, i.e., the Ohio Cannabis Expo, and any goals or additions you're hoping to bring to the next one?
Well, for the vision with the Ohio Cannabis Expo is to continue to have not just one here in Columbus, but to continue to have them in different cities all over the state. And because a lot of times, people can't travel. Well, my neighbor just started up this early, so it's gonna probably get real tense up here. But yeah, he got the Corvette and the Harley. When he started stuff up, and it's
Oh
feel like
boy.
Earth is shaking right now. Um, but no, the idea is to have multiple expos. I don't want to call it a traveling roadshow of expos, but I think that it's important to be able to have them in different communities and not just be stuck in the major cities. That's why
Yeah.
we did start the first one in Canton. So the vision I have is more expos in multiple cities, and hoping that we'll have people that kind of like help co-host it, so I don't have to do the whole thing by myself. And I don't want to say the word affiliate, but something like that, where we got people that say,
Yeah,
okay, we're in this region, we're doing the expo for the southeast and north, something like that. So yeah,
Hmm.
I think just to keep remembering that some people can only go so far, and it's like saying, hey, meet me in Columbus, but the person's 3 hours away, they can't make it to Columbus. That's
yeah,
6 hours round trip for some people, and they may not be able to physically go that far.
yeah. Just
So
giving them
that's why I think
closer.
it's important to do it.
I hear you. I hear you. All right. So we're gonna jump out of that. We're gonna come out of some of the questions there, and we're just gonna go and do some different stuff. My question to you, man, is: do you like superheroes? Or do you like something creative? Like if you can see behind me, this is my segment. We do what's called Will's Corner, and I'm just going
Okay.
to ask you a couple, either some nerdy questions or some comic book oriented questions. If you know,
Okay.
my first question would be: is do you have a favorite superhero?
Favorite superhero. So this is a tough question for me because it's like, are we talking about DC or Marvel?
Oh, are you a DC Marvel fan?
I like both.
You like both? I'm a DC fan, so I'm gonna say DC on this one. We gonna go DC.
Okay. All
Mhm.
right. So DC. If we're talking DC, then I'm gonna say it's gonna be the Flash.
What's the Flash? All right.
Yeah.
Why is the Flash your favorite? Why is he?
I he's fast. He gets things done quick. If I had that ability, man, I could get a lot done.
Yeah,
So
and run through everything. All right.
yeah,
So, who's your favorite character on the Marvel side then?
that's a much more complex question.
I
Um,
think.
I mean,
Mm.
people might think this is obvious, like, but for me right now, I've always liked the Iron Man character. I feel like that's really what kicked off the whole Avengers thing was Iron Man.
Yeah. Yeah,
So I've
my
always been
previous
an Iron Man
podcast partner is a big Iron Man fan. So like I know a couple people who are like diehard Iron Man fans. They love
But I,
him,
but it's,
know
but a
everything about him.
runner up is Black Panther, of course.
Okay, okay, that works.
Wakanda
That works.
forever, yeah.
That works. That works. All right.
Nice.
So let me ask you this final question. I'm done. Okay,
All right.
who would win? Would it be the Flash or would it be Iron Man? Who would win between the two if you put them together? Who would win in that fight?
Well, with the Flash being able to time travel and change the past or the future, I think the Flash will be able to outdo Iron Man simply by just being able to manipulate the timeline.
You would think he would be smart enough to figure that out, though.
Oh yeah, the Flash is real smart. So yeah,
Yeah,
he
that's
would
true.
explain
Yeah,
the time. Iron Man is smart too. I mean, but and he could probably do time travel, but it's much easier for Flash to just run to the timeline.
do
Iron
it at
Man, he'd
that
have to
point.
go build some kind of vessel for him to be able to do. Iron Man can just, what the Flash can just do on his own.
Yeah, he has some type of armor or some type of transport or something like that. Hey, cool.
Yep.
All right, well, I'll give it. I'll let you take Flash on that one. I'll take that win because that's a win for us. Okay, and that don't happen very often. It don't. It
Yeah.
don't. So, all
Y'all
right.
are teaching me about superheroes now. Like these little segments that you have. Will, I feel like I'm like starting to learn about the superheroes like slowly
Bro,
over
hey,
time.
it's a cool little world, dog. It's amazing. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
No, very interesting. I didn't know Flash time traveled as well. Like he's so fast, he's traveling through time.
It does
That
Oh
this
yeah.
thing
makes
called
sense.
it's like the Speed Force. So he is in himself is the Speed Force. I
Right.
don't have time to explain it, but it's a whole
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Well, we're going to move on to business branding and collaboration. Can you talk about your partnership with Leaves and launching your own brand, Mastermind Cannabis? What makes your line unique?
Well, I would say with Mastermind Cannabis, it's all about, what cannabis is going to do to make you feel a certain way and how's it benefiting you, whether it's helping you sleep, whether it's helping you with anxiety, or whether it's helping you with stress. The vision behind Mastermind Cannabis is to make sure that you're getting a product that makes sense. It's going to help you in a way. It's not just THC. So a lot of the products, a lot of vape carts I had out there, they're sold out right now, but they had CBG in them.
Right.
As far as working with Benelli's started the whole name, image, or celebrity brand type program back with my brother Solomon with Group Sounds with the chocolates. And so I mean, Bill Williams and the other good folks at Benelli's pioneers and working with people. He worked with Mike Tyson, Whoopi Goldberg. I mean, the list of people that they've worked with is legendary. So it's like just to be on the same wall with with some of these companies, some of these brands, and
Yeah.
I'm just a guy from Dayton, Ohio. Is a big deal. So
Yeah.
I think that it's an opportunity for somebody to be a part of the cannabis industry without having to have all the licenses and everything, and just being able to, help build your brand from a different angle, essentially with white labeling. And I
Yeah.
mean, and white labeling is something that's been around for a long time, but just being able to do that in the Ohio cannabis industry is a big deal. And
Yeah.
I think that Bill is pretty much the founder of that type of strategy, and they've done well. They have a lot of different celebrity brands, uh,
Mhm.
and that was makes some of their products a little bit more unique than the rest of the market because they have so many different celebrity brands already.
That's a good point. I never thought about that, but I didn't know they had like a niche like thing with doing celebrity collabs. Like that's pretty cool
Yep.
actually.
Yeah. I mean, there are
There's
other
some
people doing
cones.
collabs.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't cut you off. But
There's some other people doing, there's the Clutch Cookies collaboration, for example.
Yes,
Buckeye
I've seen that.
Relieve's doing Willie Nelson, for example, and they've been doing that for many years. So there are a few other collabs that are going on, and there might be a few other ones that might pop up. I know there's the Wu-Tang collab coming.
yeah, I was gonna say
So
the cones for Mike
Who are
Tyson.
they
I've seen
collabing
those a
with?
lot. So
Paragon.
Really?
So
Okay.
hmm
Oh,
yeah,
it's
amazing.
cool to see the hip hop artists get more into the space though too, because I mean it's always been ingrained in our culture. So it's nice to like have them have another outlet that they can actually just participate in, which is dope.
For sure.
absolutely.
What advice would you give others looking to move into product white labeling?
I would say the first thing to do is to figure out what your name is going to be. The name of your brand is the most important thing. What does it mean, and how is it spelled, and how will it be spelled, and what type of logo? Getting the name and the logo are real important steps before you really jump out there. If you don't have a name and a logo, um, that is not copying off somebody else's.
Right.
That's the other part too. And there's so many people we think alike. We don't realize that we use the exact same graphic. It's just like the template to make my hat. I mean, there's many people probably use the same template, but it doesn't. It's still different because of how I made it and I changed it, modified it to my own likeness. But it's
Mhm.
still, as a dispenser here, he used the same format, and his logo looks almost like a alternate version of mine, even though it says something completely different. We can just that same circular logo type pattern. It was like you use Canva, didn't you? Like, yeah.
Oh my God.
So, Canva's amazing. I mean, we did, but with AI now, you can do way more. Not, I mean, the new logos that my AI has created, I haven't shown anybody yet, but they're AI
They're
done
dope,
done some.
probably. Yeah, probably dope.
It come a long way. You used to spell everything wrong. Now it then got the spell check fixed now. Uh, but I do gotta let y'all know that my time is running out on me because I gotta go back out here and finish supervising this fence replacement.
I hear you, brother. I hear
No
you.
worries.
All right. Well, Bree, you want to hop into your segment real quick, or do you?
Sure. I can definitely do that.
Let's do that. There it is.
Welcome to the Hemper's house. I'm Mystic Mommy, the Ebony Hempress. And today for the Hemper's house, we're just going to take a moment to be mindful and reflect on our connection with cannabis. So, Mastermind, I would love to just ask you one particular question because you already said that you use cannabis medicinally. So you have a medicinal, relationship with cannabis. Some people have a more lax or recreational connection. Some people have a spiritual connection with cannabis, and so on and so forth. So, my one question to you is if you could imagine um, cannabis as it is a, physical expression of Mother Nature, um, if there was words of wisdom that maybe the plant was trying to give to us or to your audience, through you, what would you think those words would be?
Learn to listen.
Learn to listen.
Learn
Okay.
to listen. Just listen. Plant talks, people talk. It's all way of communication. So listening is real important. And if you don't listen, you miss all kinds of.
We folks with ADHD are really bad at that, but I be trying. I try my best. I try my best. I really
Yo,
do. I don't. I know I
yo.
be jumping in. I be like, I be ready to talk. I know. So I hear
Yeah.
you, bro.
You just
hundred
put
percent
us
hear
out
you.
there like
You
that.
got.
Why you had to put us out like that?
I'm sorry, bro. It just be like that because it's facts.
Hmm.
Like you got to stay patient. You got to wait your turns.
Yeah, I've had to learn to listen to a lot of things sometimes, and not things I want to listen to, or things I'm not happy about. But I learned that this listening makes a whole world of difference for a lot of people.
Mm,
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, wonderful. So are we going to move on, or are we just going to let Mastermind go because he's on a time crunch? Or
He's on a time frame, so we can just wrap up on this last section. Let's do the last section, number 8, and then that's it. We're out.
okay.
Let's do that.
Okay, so mindset, health, and moving forward. So you've been through a lot, but you talk about determination and keeping an open mind. How do you protect your mental health and maintain that drive?
That's easy. I do this live stream every weekend, and that's part of my whole mental health treatment plan. Talking to people and connecting with others like both of you here. This is part of my medication regimen.
Yes, no, I can definitely resonate with that. Because I feel like a lot of times I'll get on live and just sesh with people, and it really is therapeutic, just like
You be
having,
vibing on lives, bro. You just be out there chilling.
I be big chilling.
Big
Hmm.
chilling. Big
Yeah,
chilling.
for sure. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
doing
So
the
what's
live
your long
stream every week's a lot.
It
yeah.
is.
What's your
It's
long
hard to
term
keep
goal,
up
bro,
with.
man?
I tried. I've tried several times, but
How many days do you go live, or how many times do you usually go
One,
live in a week?
one,
Just once. Once. That's it.
one. Yeah, and
once is
preparing for that with
enough.
all the equipment is yeah, preparing for it, all the equipment and all the little things I had to do mentally, and you know,
Yeah.
it depends. And then like depending on where I'm at, I might be at home, I might be out of town, I could be anywhere. So I could be in the hospital. I mean, sometimes I'm in the hospital too, so like I have to go live from the hospital. So
Hey,
it's a lot.
I
Yeah.
hear you. So I mean, all right. Last question, and then we'll get to wrap ups here. What's your long term goal, man, with Ohio Cannabis Live? What's your long term goal for all of it? What's the whole goal for the whole thing in the next
Well, I
couple of years?
mean, I think the goal still with Ohio Cannabis Live as it continues to get bigger and grow is just to continue to be a community for people to find information and to actually build off of their own. I mean, I think that something else that I try to, put out there is that, what I'm doing, I hope other people will decide to join me and become, cannabis reporters. So I think that there's room for more people to be doing this. We got a few people doing it. But as far as having one network that basically we got affiliates like the news media, that has yet to happen. So I would like to see, reporters in multiple cities and all of them just beam the footage back to me in the studio, and I just edit it, stream
That'd
it
be
live, and we just
crazy.
go all day. So
That'd be
uh,
crazy.
we're working trying to get to the documentary series that will hopefully be shopped to either the Discovery Channel or the History Channel. So that's another vision with it as
I
well.
wish you luck on that, man. I hope it works out. I do.
That sounds
It's a
amazing.
lot. We got a lot of content just sitting, waiting to see if we'll be able to use it or not. I mean, there's so many
Yeah.
unreleased video clips and bloopers and all kinds of stuff that I got.
We know how
I
that
can only
feels. You got
imagine.
man, you got to stockpile.
Yeah, I'm almost out of
Mhm.
space.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right, man. Well,
That's
where can we
amazing.
find you? Where can we find you? Where can we hit you up? Of course, you didn't talked about it all through the episode, but we just gotta make sure we put the staple on it.
No, well, I appreciate you. Yeah, you can always find me at OhioCannabisLive.com. Or you can just Google search Ohio Cannabis Live. It's gonna come up. I'm on Instagram under Ohio Cannabis Live. I'm on Facebook as Ohio Cannabis Live. I'm on X as OH Cannabis Live. That's still Ohio Cannabis Live. I'm on Reddit as Ohio Cannabis Live. I'm on Discord as Ohio Cannabis Live. I'm on Blue Sky as Ohio Cannabis Live. I'm on Rumble as Ohio Cannabis Live.
He's
So anywhere
everywhere.
you look, yeah, we're everywhere, and in between there, we're all over the internet.
Wow.
All right. Well, thank you for coming, man. We appreciate you. We really enjoyed you talking. I've learned a lot, uh, and I've learned a lot about the law actually on this podcast. I didn't know like the specifics and stuff. So, thank you for that. I appreciate you, and I'm pretty sure our viewers will appreciate that too. So,
All right. Well, thanks for having me. Y'all have a good rest of your evening.
you
Thank
too,
you
brother.
so much. Have a good one.
Bye. Bye.